Hi everyone, Mary Pat here, and today I'm going to be making a card, and I'm going to be using my Core'dinations cardstock, and I've got the 110 pound smooth along with some core essentials in the dark and bright collection. I'm going to have a core essentials black base, and I am cutting a piece of the white cardstock, and it's the same size as my base, and I'm going to put it kind of on the side there, and so that it kind of has that, and then I want a trim on that using that beautiful teal. So what I'm doing, so I know where to cut my paper, and I am going to flip this over, and using a pencil I'm just going to draw the lines so that I know where to cut, and so it'll be easily put on there. And then I will cut that out. And now it fits perfectly right on my base. And now I want to have on the two sides some of the teal. And I'm going to be using my Perfect Layers rulers. And I'm going to use the 3/16 of an inch, and so you just line that up. There's a little lip so that you know where to go, and I take my X-Acto knife and I just cut those off. These rulers are like my favorite for stuff like this, because then there's no guesswork. It's so easy, and you just cut that out. So now I'm just going to cut the other two sides off. And we'll see here, now I have the two sides that are there. And now because this is core cardstock, it's great to sand. And I've got my Sand It gadget. And I am just lightly just going across the edge there. And I am just kind of giving it a little distressed look. And now it's going to go right there. So that's going to be the base of my card. Now I'm using the Stampendous stamp set and dies and coordinating dies, and I just think that flower is absolutely gorgeous, and it's that awesome cling rubber stamps, and I'm going to put that right there in that white section. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my brights, that beautiful pink, and I'm going to sand it a little bit just to kind of give the flower a little bit of shading with that, using the cardstock, no markers. So I've got that on my acrylic block, and I'm going to ink this up using my Hero Arts dye ink. And I want to get that nice and inky because I want a really nice heavy black line on that. And so you can see there, and so now I'm just going to place that down, press firmly, and there we have the flower. It looks fantastic. Now I just kind of cut that out a little bit, and now I'm going to be using my dies. And the die is awesome. You just kind of have to figure out where to go. It's kind of like fitting a puzzle piece. And so I'm going to line that up, or at least this is the way I do it. You're going to line that up, and I use a little bit of washi tape, and I put the washi tape down on a little bit of the die and some of the cardstock, and this way when I send it through my Cuttlebug, it's not going to slip. And so here it is, I've run it through, and I just pop it out, and there it is, fits, it's absolutely perfect, and it cuts right on there, and you can see that there. Really like it. You can see some of the shading that I did with the sanding. So now I'm gluing down my base, and I'm going to put that, I love the colors together, and I'm going to put that beautiful flower right there. Now, the next thing I need to do is I need to put a sentiment on there, and I'm using these Freckled Fawn vellum alphabet stickers, and they're awesome. And I'm just going to put a real simple one that says hi, and I'm just lining those up, and they match perfectly with my cardstock that I have there. And I really like how that looks with the black and the white and then the pops of color. So I have that, and it looks great. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I love dimension, so if you've seen any of my cards before, I always like to have that. So I'm putting pop dots or foam tape on there, and then putting that on. And I always love a little bling, so I'm using these Simon Says stamps, little gems there, and I've kind of found a matching color. And I'm just going to scatter. I always use 3. I'm just going to scatter a large one, a medium one, and a small on that. And the next thing to do is now I need to, I'm going to put some pop dots on the back of this. And now I'm going to center it on my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. The black part of the base is 4 by 5 1/4. And there we have it. I really like the way it looks. Now my second card that I'm going to be using is I'm starting with just a scrap of my Core Smooth 110-pound weight cardstock. And I am going to be using this Stampendous butterfly. I just love butterflies. And this one looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to color. And so I'm starting, because I'm using my alcohol markers, I'm going to be using my Memento Tuxedo Black. And I'm just going to have that attached to my acrylic block. And once again, I'm going to get this nice and inky. And I'm just going to stamp that on my scrap piece of cardstock. I save every scrap because you never know how big what you're going to stamp. So now I'm going to color this in with my Spectrum Noir HB1, 2, and 3 markers. And I always like to put down a quick layer of the lightest color. And so I'm starting with my HB1. And I'm going to do one side of the butterfly at a time. So I'm coloring the whole thing in with the HB1. And again, I'm just moving in fast circles and putting down a nice layer there. Next, I'm going to go with my darkest shade, and that's HB3. And I kind of want the edges of the butterfly to be the darkest part. So I'm just going in there and I'm making a thin line, kind of just for the natural way that the stamp is laid out, and putting that in there, and going in. Already, I already think the colors look fantastic. So next I'm going to go with my HB2, and now I'm going to go right up to the edge of where I had the darkest color. I'm just going to kind of go real quickly up to the edge and kind of draw the ink out into the butterfly. And so again, I'm just kind of going up to the edge, pulling it out with that. Now to blend it all together, I'm going to go back with my lightest shade, my HB1, and I'm just kind of going over and making it all, as I can see, I'm using fast little circles. And I'm doing that. Now I just want a little bit of darker color. I'm going with the HB2 and just adding a little bit from the body and pulling that out. And again, just going over it a little bit with my HB1 to smooth it out. Now, I'm going to use the chisel tip on this side just because it goes a little faster. And I'm going in with my layer of my HB1. And once again, I'm going to go with my HB3, and I'm going to go up to the edge just exactly what I did on the other side and color that all in. And it looks great. And now I'm going to go back in with my HB2 and go right up to the edge and pull it out, moving in little circles and pulling that color out. And again, adding just a little bit there towards the body. And now I'm going to smooth it all out with my HB1 and kind of just blend it all together. And I think it looks pretty good. Just want to kind of add a little bit more color on the one side. It's a little bit lighter than the other side, so I just wanted to touch it up and add a little bit. Now I'm going with, for the body. The body's very small, but I'm adding my GB5 and coloring that, and then going in with my, oh, I'm sorry, that was GB3, and now going in with GB5 and adding a little bit. And there's the butterfly. So next I want to go and use my die cuts again, and I'm going to use the same process that I used before. I have my nice little metal die, and I'm just lining that up, and then I'll be putting down the washi tape, and so that to make sure that it does not slip. And just for this one, I'm going to put on both sides there, and then I'll run that through my Cuttlebug. Okay, I have that all cut out, and I'm going to attach it to a 2.5 by 2.5 inch square on that. But first, what I want to do, because obviously you can't, there's no antennas, and there's no the extension of the body on that. So I'm going to stamp that right in the center there, and that way I can get the antennas and everything on there. So I'm going to pop dot that on there. So again, I've got the little dimension, and so that looks really good the way it is, and then you got the full butterfly. Now, what I'm going to do with this now is I've got my standard base of a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card, and I'm going to put that right in the center of the card. And once again, I want a lot of dimension, so I'm using the foam dots, and I'm going to place that right there in the center, and I think that looks really good. So you can kind of see there on that shot that there was a little bit of dimension. And now I'm going to use those vellum stickers again. I like the purple and the teal together. And I was kind of plotting out, I'm going to use the word hello, and so I kind of wanted to see how it looks. And so it's real easy to put those down, and they line up really nicely together. And so next I have hello, and that is my clean and simple card. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you liked them, and I'll see you soon. Bye.